Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Danny. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to crochet this beautiful cross bag. It is extremely easy and, believe it or not, pretty quick to make. So before we get into the tutorial, I just want to mention a few little things before we get started. The first one is to let you guys know that, as always, the list with all the materials that I used in this video, including the yarn, the straps, the zipper, everything, it's going to be listed in the description box of this video. And also, I'm not going to be getting into too many details on how to make the lining for this bag. I will show you a little bit, quick how I did it, but all the details will be on my blog. So the link is also in the description box of this video. So on my blog, you're gonna have everything that you need to know, from the written instructions and the crocheted diagram, as well as the instructions on making the lining. So don't forget to check that out. And now let's get into today's video, because it is a very cute one. And as you can see with the straps, it almost looks like you bought it at a store and you didn't make it yourself. So now let's get into today's video. So for this bag, you're going to be using a granny square, 4 granny squares to be exact. And this is the exact same one that we made for my previous tutorial, the squares blanket. So if you know how to make it, then you are ahead of the game. For the yarn, I used 24/7 cotton by Lion brand, and these are the colors that I used. I'm also gonna be listing and linking everything in the description box, so you have easier access to the yarn. But this is the beautiful color palette that I used. I will also be using a 5mm crochet hook, your tapestry needle, your scissors, and the strap. I will also leave the link to the exact same ones that I used in the description box. It is very pretty and super durable. The material is very nice. You will also be needing the rings. These ones are gold. I try to match the straps. They're a little bit different, but it works. So now for the granny square, we're gonna begin with a magic circle. And also remember that you have the crochet diagram on my blog, so that it's also easier whenever you can see the chart and the video as well. So we're going to chain 2, and the chain 2 will always count as 1 double crochet. So here we have the first one. Now you're going to double crochet 2 times in the magic ring, or adjustable ring, however you want to call it. This is going to be the first side of the square. Now to make the first corner, you're going to chain 2. Now you're going to repeat again 3 double crochets in the adjustable ring or magic ring to create the next side of your square. And as you can imagine, we're going to repeat this until we have a little square. So for the next corner, you're going to chain 2 again. 1 and 2. Now repeat for the third side. 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And now we have the second last corner, chain 2 for the last side, again 3 double crochets. 2 and 3. And now we have to make one last corner. I'm counting in here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now the last corner, chain 2 and pull tight to close. Now to join, instead of joining right away, we're going to change the color. And we're not going to worry too much about weaving in the ends or anything like that, because we're going to do that at the end. So now grab the new color and slip stitch into the first stitch of the round with the new color. And I'll start round 2 with the next color. And again, don't worry about the tails. We're gonna fix that at the end. You don't need to worry because you're not gonna be able to see it in this project. Okay, so now in the very first space right here, we're going to double crochet 1 and then 2, because we have 3 double crochets in the previous round. We need to have 3 double crochets in here. And now for the corner, when you get to the corner, you're going to double crochet 2 in that chain 2 space, then chain 2, and then double crochet 2 times again. And we're gonna do that with every single corner. And the stitches that we're adding in here in the corner are the ones that are gonna allow us to make the square bigger. Now because we have 3 double crochets in here, we need to have also 3 double crochets up here. So you're gonna double crochet 3 until you get to the next corner, and you guessed it, we're gonna do the same thing. 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and then 2 double crochets in the same chain 2 space. So here I have 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and 2 double crochets again. And you're gonna repeat the sequence all the way around until you get to the last stitch. So in here you can cut your yarn and bring your new color. So now we can close and join the round with a slip stitch and the new color. Now for the next round, we're gonna do the exact same thing. Chain 2, and now double crochet in the very first space that you have in here. And now continue double crochet until you get to the corner. And when you get to the corner, you do the same thing. And this is how simple this granny square is. Very straightforward, very simple, very beginner friendly. Okay, now when we get to the next corner, you do the same thing. 2 double crochets, 2 chains, 2 double crochets. And you're gonna do this all the way around. Every round you're gonna have more and more stitches. So every side will have now more stitches. When we get to the end, we're going to close and join the new color, and you need to do the same thing 2 more times. So in total we have to have five rounds. So here I have my 5 rounds. It's looking a little wonky in here because we have to close. So we're gonna do that now. You can turn it around, and here you have all your beautiful ends that you don't need to worry because you won't be able to see the wrong side of your square, so you can simply make knots. So this one I'm going to weave it in, of course, but I'm gonna leave it in here for now. And the other ones, just pull them tight a little bit and then just simply make a knot. Again, you won't be able to see the wrong side of your square because you're gonna have a lining in there, so it doesn't matter. And I recommend leaving not like a super long tail, but don't cut too close to the knot so that, you know, nothing's gonna happen. So pull tight and then just snip the yarn. And done. Now do the same thing with all the other ends, and then we're going to close the last round. And in here we're going to do the invisible round, which is, the invisible stitch, which is basically making like a fake stitch. You're gonna pass your needle under the stitch and then bring it back down the same one in here. And now you can close, and it's almost like a fake stitch. So now you can weave in that end And again, don't worry too much because we're joining the squares, so you also won't be able to see that. Now you can make a knot if you want, and all you gotta do now is crochet 3 more squares. So the bag only uses 4 squares, which is very nice because it makes this project really quick. And now let's make the magic. So we're gonna fold 1 square in half, and this is gonna be one of the sides. Then you're gonna have the square that goes in the middle, and then the next square that goes in the back. And you need to have both squares facing the wrong side. Okay? And now for the other side, see, the wrong sides. And now for the other side, you're gonna do the same. Fold the square in half. And now we have our bag, at least the shape. Now all we gotta do is join the squares. And in here, you can use any method that you prefer, whichever is easier for you, whichever you know best. I really like the slip stitch because, I don't know, I like it. So that's the stitch that I'm gonna use to join my squares, and we have to do it all the way around. So here I'm gonna join the first half of one of my squares and the one that goes in the middle. And like I mentioned before, I'm going to be using the slip stitch. And I'm also using the same color that I did for the last round of every square. So in here, because the corner goes like this, I need to join this side to the square that I have right here, and then the other side to the other square. I'm gonna turn it around because it's easier for me to do from the bottom up. You're going to insert your hook and bring the yarn. And now you're going to insert your hook again in the stitch from the other square, and we're going to be using only one side of the stitch, not the whole stitch, just the back loop only, or the loop that is, you know, in the middle, close to the other square. The first one is always tricky, but now you're gonna get the hang of it really easy. Just insert your hook in the back loop, then the back loop from the other one, and slip stitch. And continue doing this all the way along your square, grabbing the back loop of the stitch only. So you grab one from one square, one from the other one, and slip stitch, making sure the yarn is always at the bottom and not the top. So in here you can see the yarn is at the bottom. And continue doing this all the way along. This is how pretty the stitch looks like. Now that I have one side done, I can fold the square again to see how that goes, so I don't get confused. So this one goes like this, and I'm gonna now grab the other square that goes on the other side. Remember, wrong side facing each other. And now that I have it like this, I can open it and crochet the 2 squares together. So if I open one side like this and I move the other one, it will be like this. And now I can join the other side. Now, once you are done with one side, then you're gonna grab the next square and do the same thing. So here I have one side done. Now I need to attach the next corner. Fold it in half, make sure we have it in here, and start from here and then go all the way in the back, so we can have our bag almost done. Once we're done, remember that you also need to close the bottom Now we're gonna do a couple of rounds for the top of the bag to make it more sturdy and to not have these little bumps in here. So you can start anywhere you want. I'm gonna start in here because it's where my yarn was attached. And now we're going to do one round of single crochets. And I will highly recommend using a stitch marker just so you know where the round starts, but also try to make this round very tight so our bag has a nice shape. So go ahead and do single crochet all the way around. Now when you get to one side, the corner, here's where you had the increase, right? So we're gonna skip that and single crochet in the next available stitch. And that is because we want the side to grow upwards and not with the same shape as the bag, like that triangle, if that makes sense. So when we get to the end of the round, we're going to join with a slip stitch and we're gonna do another single crochet round. So place your stitch marker and now single crochet again all the way around, making sure and trying to do this stitch as tight as you can. When you get to the end, all you gotta do is slip stitch and another one, and now cut the yarn and fasten off. Now you could do more rounds if you wanted to. If you want to make your bag a little bit taller, you can totally add more rounds and make your bag even bigger. I did only 2 because I was very excited to finish. Okay, so now let me show you very quick how is that I made the lining. So in here, I'm just checking where I should place the D-rings. I ended up putting them on the lining instead because that way you can put as much weight as you want in your bag and it's not going to stretch or anything like that, which is perfect. And that is why I 100% recommend making a lining. So in here, I folded the fabric in half and then I was tracing the same shape as the bag, giving like 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance to, you know, sew the bag, the lining. And I didn't end up using this fabric because I messed up. So I used another one that is even nicer. So, but this is how I cut it. And then I am done with the lining. Again, I'll explain in details how I did it on my blog. So, or you can even find tons of video tutorials here on YouTube of how to make a simple lining. This is the basic of the basics. You can do it by hand or using your sewing machine. I did it with the sewing machine. Now we're going to place the lining inside the bag, and I'm using these clips to know exactly where the lining should go. You can also use pins if you don't have these clips. I like sewing, so I have all the tools for that. So in here, I'm just clipping, making sure I have everything where it's supposed to go. And as you can see in here, I already placed the lining. And now to sew it, I'm going to be using a heavy duty hand quilting thread. Don't make fun of me. I bought this one at Michael's. It is super strong. It's way stronger than your regular cotton thread. So I used this, you know, to make it a little bit more secure, and I used my hands. I sew it by hand because, you know, I didn't want to play around with my sewing machine and the cotton fabric that we created with the yarn, so with the squares. So yeah, I just did a simple stitch and I hand sewed everything all the way around. It was fairly quick, you guys. It was not hard and not long at all. And in here I just started going like this and then all the way around, and now you're done. And you can't even see it because I used the same color for the zipper and the yarn and the thread. And in here I have the D-rings that are attached to my lining. As you can see, it opens beautifully, it is spacious, and now I can attach my straps, and it almost looks like you bought it at a store. It does not look like a handmade item. It is so beautiful, and yeah, I have been using it for a couple of weeks now, and let me tell you, I have been asked many times where I got my bag, and I'm so proud to say that I made it myself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If so, please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you have questions, please leave them below, and don't forget to check out my blog. You have all the information there, and I showed you exactly how I made the lining. So I hope all the information that I provided was helpful. And yeah, if you have any questions, just leave them below, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.